the true meaning of the Lord of the Rings ending, mercy, decline, and the passing of an age. Most stories end with a victory lap. The Lord of the Rings ends with a farewell. The enemy is defeated, the world is saved, and yet the last pages don't feel triumphant. They feel like grief with perhaps a little bit of sunlight shining through it. Today I want to talk about the true meaning of Tolkien's ending, why it's about mercy, why it's about decline, and why even after the war is won, there are wounds that don't heal. Greetings, legendary readers. Welcome to Larry's Legendary Library, where we explore science fiction, fantasy, and other bits and bobs. This is week 2 of my Lord of the Rings miniseries, and if you're here for battles and spectacle, don't worry, we'll get to those. But today is about something that Tolkien did that almost no one else pulls off. If you enjoy slow burn, thoughtful book talk, hit like and subscribe because we're building something special with this series. Here's the first key to the ending. Tolkien isn't ultimately praising power. He's praising mercy, not a soft virtue, not as a, oh, be nice message, but mercy as the actual engine of victory. Because the ring is not destroyed by strength. It is not destroyed by grand heroic willpower. The end, nobody outmuscles the ring. The ring is destroyed because earlier, long before Mount Doom, a few characters chose mercy when it would have been easier to choose violence. Think about it. Bilbo spares Gollum. Frodo spares Gollum. Sam, even as he hates him, still doesn't finish him when he has the chance. And in the moments, those decisions may look foolish, right up until it becomes the hinge of history. Because Tolkien is saying the world isn't saved by the hero, it's saved by messy mercy. Mercy that doesn't feel rewarding in the moment. And that's why the ending isn't a victory parade. It's a meditation on what it costs to do the right thing. And what it costs even when the right thing works. Mercy doesn't erase pain. Mercy doesn't prevent loss. Mercy just keeps the world from becoming the thing you're fighting against. The Lord of the Rings is not just the fall of Sauron. It is the passing of an age, the third age. This is where a lot of people miss the emotional center of the ending. Middle Earth is being saved into a different world, a world that is less enchanted, a world where the elves leave, where the great and ancient powers recede, where magic becomes quieter. Have you ever gone back to visit a home that perhaps you grew up in as a child or years ago, and perhaps the house is still there technically, but it doesn't feel the same because there are perhaps subtle or perhaps even more than subtle changes to the home and the area, but it's also because you aren't the same either. And that's the feeling that Tolkien gives you on purpose. Magic isn't defeated. Magic isn't killed. It simply fades. And that's one reason why the ending feels sad. because the best possible outcome still means some things are over forever. Even the Shire isn't preserved as a museum piece. It's reclaimed, it's healed, but it's not untouched. And Tolkien is doing something brave here. He's refusing to pretend that war only happens over there. Even when the world is saved, it leaves a mark. Now we get to the most haunting part of the ending. Frodo. Frodo doesn't get the simple reward arc. He comes home, he's praised, he's safe, but he's still not okay. This is one of the most honest things in all of fantasy literature. Tolkien shows that survival doesn't automatically mean healing. Frodo carries a wound that isn't just physical. It's spiritual. It's psychological. It's like his very soul got bruised. And this is where victory starts to feel like loss. Because if you expected this story to say, good wins and everything returns to normal, Tolkien says no. Sometimes the bravest person in the story pays a price that no one can see. Sometimes you save the world and still lose something inside yourself. So when Frodo leaves, it doesn't feel like a victory lap. It feels like a truth. Some burdens can be carried, but not put down. In the Bible, it talks about Paul's thorn in his side. That reminds me of this. And Tolkien isn't being bleak. He's being compassionate. He's saying, if you've been changed by what you've endured, that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. So if you ask, why does the ending feel sad? Here's the answer. It is because Tolkien is closing 3 doors at once. Number 1, mercy wins, but mercy doesn't erase the cost. Number 2, magic fades because history is turning a page. And number 3, Frodo survives, but he doesn't return unchanged. This combination creates something rare, a fantasy ending that feels like real life in one important way. It acknowledges that joy and sorrow can coexist. Sauron falls. The Third Age ends. That's why the last pages feel like standing at the shore and watching a ship disappear over the horizon. You're happy for what was saved, but you're grieving for what was lost. So here's my question for you, legendary readers. Which part of the ending hit you the hardest? The idea that mercy is stronger than power, the fading of magic, or Frodo's truth that some wounds don't fully heal? Drop it in the comments. I am genuinely curious because everyone carries this ending with them in one part or another. Next week, we're shifting gears, still thoughtful, but perhaps more outward facing. And we're going to look how Tolkien builds meaning through small choices that ripple outward. If you want more Lord of the Rings content, subscribe and join the series. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay legendary.